Happy holidays, everyone. I have some very good news for the library and those of us who value the right to read what we want to read and not have censors tell us what we can't read. I have in my hand the final ruling from Judge Timothy Brooks, the federal judge in Fayetteville, who you may recall in July of 2023 issued a preliminary injunction in favor of CALS and the other plaintiffs who sued to stop the implementation of Sections 1 and 5 of Act 372, which we called the book ban law. This final ruling today confirms his earlier opinion. It essentially issues a final, formal, permanent injunction against the enforcement of Sections 1 and 5. And he found that under Sections 1 and 5, they are vaguely worded and susceptible to multiple meanings. Section 1 violates the due process rights of professional librarians and booksellers and the First Amendment rights of library and bookstore patrons. And Section 5 empowers local elected officials to censor library books they feel are not appropriate for citizens to read and allows, if not encourages, he wrote, content and viewpoint-based restrictions on protected speech without any compelling government purpose. He concluded that Sections 1 and 5 violated the First Amendment and ordered the defendants not to enforce those sections, which is exactly what we had asked in June of 2023 when we filed this lawsuit. It's a significant milestone on a long, sometimes rocky path that we were forced to travel on because the Arkansas legislature and the governor imposed this act. We took that step after a lot of deliberation, 2 extensive board meetings to discuss it, and a number of conversations with lawyers and allies to protect our librarians from prosecution for doing their jobs and to prevent some local elected officials from censoring library books that they didn't feel were, quote, appropriate for our patrons to read. Judge Brooks's ruling affirms the values that CALS librarians, and I think most of our citizens, hold dear. Namely, that our Constitution does not authorize city boards, quorum courts, or even me, any librarian, to act as an agent of government censorship by removing or restricting access to books simply because some members of the community find the content or the viewpoints expressed in those books to be objectionable. Under Judge Brooks's ruling, the law that was set to go into effect in August of 2023, if we had not filed this lawsuit, elected officials would have been given the discretion to decide whether a book is appropriate without the benefit in that statute of any criteria, without any procedure, and without even having to have read the book. And librarians fearing jail time would have had an incentive to remove books that adults and older minors clearly have the right under our Constitution to read. And what I feared, not in our library, but in many libraries in smaller communities, that to avoid the threat of prosecution or just harassment by elected officials, a lot of librarians would not have even acquired books that they thought might be offensive or objected to by certain members of the community. So this is a great day to celebrate the success of this lawsuit that was enabled by a lot of people who funded it on our part. We spent no public money of the $75,000 or so that we spent paying lawyers because we had donors, generous, kind people who wanted to help us wage this effort. We're going to communicate to them that we anticipate some part, if not all of our fees being awarded by the court. That is to say, the fee shifted from our donors to the parties who were the defendants who caused this lawsuit to have to take place. That may happen. We'll get a ruling from the judge sometime early next year about that. We'll ask for that, and we'll see if that happens. But we're grateful to all those donors who supported this, close to 300. And I'm also just grateful for the team of lawyers and parties, people who represent folks in Garland County, the library in Eureka Springs, the library in Fayetteville, the Arkansas Library Association, the independent bookstore in Fayetteville, an independent bookstore in Little Rock, all of whom became participating plaintiffs in this lawsuit. A number of patrons, individuals who use their library in Crawford County and in Central Arkansas joined the lawsuit. Content providers, the group of people who care about these things from the standpoint of being able to write and publish what they would think a community would like to read. All those people participated in this, and it was a great collaboration, and without hard work we wouldn't have had this wonderful gift, if you will, this present on the eve of Christmas that we can all celebrate. It didn't happen without a lot of folks working hard, and I'm grateful to them, and I'm grateful to all of you who care about these issues as I do, and look forward to welcoming you into the new year and celebrating the right to read all of us appreciate.